The month of November has got to be my craziest month yet because I got over 40 new fragrances in the collection, so stay tuned. What's good, guys? Hunter here and welcome back to Fragrance Hunter. Hope you're all doing good, guys. That's right, the month is over, so of course we're going to break down all the new fragrances I got for the month. And like I said in the intro, it's gonna be over 40 new fragrances. I think 45 to be exact, which is absolutely crazy. And this video might be a little bit longer, so grab a drink, grab some popcorn, or whatever you wanna eat. I still will try to keep it up pretty quick, go through each fragrance quickly, go on to the next, etc. Now, before we go ahead and get into my pickups of November, drop some of your favorite fragrance pickups that you got for the month down below as well. Let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Aramis Intuition, which is a new genre of Aramis, guys. They basically discontinued the OG Aramis, which has been around for such a long time, and came out with this new modern blue fragrance, guys. And I gotta say though, even though it's a blue fragrance, which is oversaturated, this one is still very solid. Very bright citrusy grapefruit with a ton of this aromatic metallic modern lavender with a little bit of this powdery orris and this kind of leathery patchouli base. And man, like I said, guys, Aramis Intuition is a solid new release. Next, I got a few new fragrances from the house of Atralia. The first one was Atralia Elixir, of course inspired by Le Male Elixir. Has that minty aromatic type of vibe. It dries down very resinous from like amber, benzoin, a little bit of this tropical kind of pineapple as well, and some vanilla. You can literally not go wrong with that Le Male Elixir DNA. And of course, this has got to be one of the best alternatives to that. You can check out Atralia at perfumeonline.com with code HUNTER5. Atralia Matcha Latte, which is my first matcha fragrance in the collection, guys. And just like that name says, it smells like you're going to Starbucks, ordering a matcha latte, drinking it, that is put into this bottle. So creamy, very green, very milky, and just absolutely delicious. So if you love matcha and your team matcha, you need this bottle. Atralia Amazonia Sierra, guys, which is inspired by Mason Francis Kurkdjian's Gentle Fluidity Gold, which is this aromatic kind of fruity juniper berry vanilla type of fragrance. And that's exactly what Sierra is. And honestly, guys, I cannot believe the price you can get this for. I think it's around $20 or so, which is insane for the type of fragrance you're getting. Might be one of the best value fragrances that I got in the month of November easily. I also got two new Latafas as well. The first one is Assad Elixir, which is now the GOAT of all the Assads, guys. This is basically a hybrid between Boss Bottled Absolute and the OG Assad, because this one opens up very spicy from pink pepper, saffron with a ton of this citrusy bright grapefruit that dries down to this earthy cherry pipe tobacco, vanilla, and a ton of resin. So this one opens up pretty much like the OG Assad or Sauvage Elixir and dries down very resinous and warm like a Boss Bottled Absolute. And this one is truly a banger. Latafas Nabras Elixir, which is another new release. This one smells like melted white chocolate. So creamy, so sweet, with a ton of sugar and vanilla as it dries down. So if you're one of the people that love those sweet, gourmand, creamy, milky type of fragrances, Nabras Elixir is a must check out. I got two new releases from the house of Riffs. The first is Seasons Drift, which is very, very similar to Bleu de Chanel List Exclusive, guys, which is by far my favorite Bleu de Chanel now, easily. Very warm, very, very ambery. And this one still has that beautiful, zesty kind of lemon and grapefruit opening, but man, oh man, is this one insanely good. If you're looking for something similar to Bleu de Chanel List Exclusive, you don't want to spend up to $300 on that, you got to check out Riffs Seasons Drift. Also, of course, it got Riffs Seasons Rise, which is inspired by Stronger With You Parfum, which honestly, never been the biggest fan of that DNA, but it is very spicy from like pink pepper, very, very sexy type of DNA as well. A little bit aromatic, very sweet from like cinnamon, caramel, toffee, with this kind of vanilla dry down from Seasons Rise. Now, out of the two, I gotta admit, I much prefer Seasons Drift, guys. That fragrance is insane. The next fragrance is the new Mind Games Check Please, which is basically Quinning's more mature, well sophisticated older brother, because this one still has that fruity apple, very, very nutty and warm. From like hazelnut and nougat, you get a burst of cinnamon, fruity dark plum with a base of amber, oak, and vanilla. And I do prefer this over quinine because it's still an apple vanilla type of fragrance at its core, but it smells much higher quality, especially from that apple opening. Which, if you wouldn't know me, I wasn't the biggest fan of the opening from quinine. It does dry down good, but man, still, check please dominates. The next fragrance might be my favorite niche discovery of November, and it is Adamo Numero V. This beauty right here is this dark chocolate gourmand, oody, earthy fragrance. Because it opens up with a burst of roasted dark coffee with this zesty ginger, starts to dry down to this dark, delicious chocolate, oud, and leather. And man, does this one smell extremely luxurious, very, very high quality, and the price tag definitely matches the way this one smells, because this one is not cheap. But man, is this a banger. Rayhan Crimson, which I believe is inspired by Creed Centaurus, and oh my goodness, this has got to be one of the sexiest fragrances for the price easily. Because it opens up so spicy and seductive, from pink pepper, cinnamon, cardamom that dries down into this earthy patchouli, tonka bean, vanilla, and benzoin. Might be one of my new favorite Middle Eastern fragrances that I discovered this year alone. This stuff is incredibly seductive, guys. Next, we got a classic from the 70s, which is Napoleon Daniel. It has this beautiful, zesty Italian lemon floral type of opening that starts to dry down very spicy, earthy, and musky. And when I smell this one, it literally transports me back to the 70s, smelling like rich old money. That's the exact vibe Napoleon Daniel is going to give you. So if you love those old, masculine, gentlemanly 70s type of fragrances, this one you have to check out. Next, of course, we get some ladies fragrances. This one is Mugler's Angel Nova, which is very, very fruity, feminine, and beautiful. It has this fruity kind of lychee opening with raspberry and rose that dries down kind of woody. I will admit, I am kind of getting sick of those fruity lychee fragrances on a woman, because you think of Delina, that's like the fragrance that kind of started that trend, and man, is there so many lychee perfumes out there now, and this is of course one of them. Still sexy, still beautiful, still feminine, but I'm kind of getting drained from that note. But if you want your lady to smell beautiful, you might want to check out Mugler's Angel Nova. Mont Blanc's Explore Extreme, which might be one of the best designer releases of 2025. It has this very citrusy bergamot opening that dries down to an earthy patchouli, amber, and a burst of leather. It's gonna be in the same realm as, of course, Aventus, Absolute Aventus, and even a hint of like Sauvage Elixir thrown into the mix. And I gotta say, this is a huge upgrade over the original Explorer by far. Mont Blanc's Legend, which is a classic, modern, timeless fragrance that every man should own, guys. Aromatic, fruity pineapple. That's in the same realm as, of course, Abercrombie & Fitch's Fierce, Parfums of Marley's Percival, and when it comes to any DNA in the world, guys, this is still by far one of the most complimented fragrance DNAs any man could ever wear, guys. I'm not even joking. Perfect signature scent worthy fragrance, smells sexy, and is a huge compliment getter with Mont Blanc's Legend. Prada Amber Pour Homme, which is a more mature, classier brother to Prada L'Homme in my opinion. Very soapy, very clean, very floral. That does kind of dry down a little bit spicier and warm, and just has a ton of character to it, guys. This one I believe might be discontinued, so if you want to get a bottle, now is the best time to do so. And believe me, if you want a soapy clean fragrance, this is one of the best on the market. Cartier's Pasha de Cartier, which is a masterpiece from the 90s, guys. Very aromatic, very spicy, refreshing. From this kind of foamy, creamy lavender, refreshing mint, and a ton of spices right away from Pasha de Cartier. That does dry down very woody and earthy from oak moss and patchouli. If you want a classic fougere barbershop fragrance, this is one of the best on the market. Plus, it's made by my favorite perfumer, so you already know it's a banger. The classic Paco Rabanne's 1 Million finally got added to the collection, guys. And why didn't you tell me this is still a banger today even? Because it opens up with this fruity mandarin orange and minty opening, guys, which is so sexy. And I can see why this was a clubbing king back in its day, and still pretty much today, guys. But it does dry down very spicy from like cinnamon, a little bit of rose with this ambery leather base. And the opening is so captivating, so seductive, and I wish it lasted a little bit longer, because man, is this a good one. Burberry London, which is literally the holidays, Christmas in a bottle. So if you don't own this already, you need this for the upcoming holiday months, guys. I'm not even joking. It opens up with this beautiful spicy cinnamon, aromatic lavender that dries down to this leather and cherry piped tobacco kind of combination. And there's something so good about this opening that it literally takes me back to when I was a kid. During the holiday months, guys, I remember getting a little miniature bottle of this, and it also just so happens to smell like Christmas in a bottle as well. Literally a must-have in any man's collection. Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau, which has got to be the most sweetest, sexiest tropical summertime fragrance on the entire market, and goes in a completely different direction than what you think of a summer fragrance. Because you kind of get this sweet bergamot opening, this kind of sweet coconut with a kind of powdery gourmand tonka bean warm base. And I can see why Le Beau has gotten so much hype, because this one truly is very good, especially for the warmer months. Absolutely gonna have to get a bottle of Le Beau Le Parfum very soon, because man, is this good. Symmetry Quest, which is very similar to something like Calvin Klein's Obsession, maybe even Frederic Maul's Muscat Reserve, because it's very citrusy, spicy type of fragrance with a heavy dose of cloves, guys, like very, very heavy on that note. So if you love cloves, you're gonna absolutely love Quest, because man, is it the most dominant note. That does kind of dry down to this ambery tonka bean vanilla type of base. And this might just be the most affordable fragrance I got for the month of November. And even for the affordable price, man, you're getting one heck of a fragrance. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I mean, this thing's literally around 20 bucks to give or take, I believe exclusively on like Fragrance Net. Next, I got a few new fragrances from the house of Dupe. I've seen them. They make inspired by fragrances of very popular ones. This one right here is Sunlit Drift, which is inspired by Louis Vuitton's Afternoon Swim, my favorite California collection from Louis Vuitton, guys. But the performance with that one is garbage. One of the worst performing Louis Vuittons alongside Pacific Chill, but the DNA is perfection for the summertime. This one nails that beautiful citrusy kind of mandarin ginger type of vibe, but at the end of the day improves the performance with that Afternoon Swim DNA, guys. So I gotta give Dupe credit for creating this banger. The next one is Azure Depth, inspired by Bleu de Chanel, which of course when you think of Chanel, they never hit discounters. So if you want to get that Bleu de Chanel DNA but don't want to spend that hefty price, this might be one of the best bets to go for, guys. Very masculine, shower gel, crowd pleasing type of DNA that you can literally never go wrong with. And surprisingly still has that Chanel high quality type of vibe to the DNA to my nose. Seriously impressive, guys, with Dupe. Also got Nomad She Wrote. Do you know what this is inspired by? Of course, Louis Vuitton's Ombre Nomad. One of my favorite part of the Middle Eastern collection that I own right over there alongside Nuit de Faux and La Sabo Roses. But man, is Ombre Nomad an absolute iconic DNA. And anytime I can get my hands on something inspired by that, I'm all for it, guys, because I love to compare fragrances, see how close they get, etc. And sometimes I don't want to wear my $300+ Louis Vuitton, so I can reach for this if I'm just kind of chilling at home or running errands. And these fragrances are getting so close nowadays. Obviously this DNA is fruity raspberry oud with spicy saffron and smoky incense, and man, is it sexy. Also got Dupe Royal Triumph, which is inspired by Creed's Aventus. Now I haven't tried any of the newer Creed batches. I do own 19S31, which is one of the best 2019 batches, guys. I love that beauty right there, very smoky. This one is a well-balanced fruity pineapple, tropical with that smoky kind of birch vibe. And has a ton of brightness to it, even brighter than my bottle of Aventus. So if you love bright, citrusy Aventus or fruity Aventus, you're gonna love Royal Triumph. I would imagine this is how the newer batches of Aventus smell. And honestly, it's insanely good, guys. I cannot get my mind around how close these are. And we haven't even gotten to the best one yet. Dupe Harmonic Voyage, which is inspired by Louis Vuitton's Symphony, which is part of the X-Straight line, going for upwards of $600. I don't even own a bottle of that one. Now I have tried some other inspired by versions of Symphony. They've all fallen completely flat. You guys would know that if you caught like my Cutledge Island Dreams video. The dry down was horrendous with that fragrance, guys. Now I haven't gotten around to fully testing in this particular one, but I have smelled on a test strip. It smells better than Cutledge Island Dreams, which is funny. So if you're looking for Symphony on a budget, man, this honestly might be the best one to go for. Still not my favorite DNA. It's kind of a more feminine take on like Tigar, La Mesite, Vibrato, etc. But still very good with that sparkling ginger. The last one is Dupe Aspiration, which is inspired by Louis Vuitton Imagination. And this one has to probably be my best one from the 6 that I've tried, guys. Big fan of Imagination, of course, and all of the Inspired by versions fall flat as well. Maybe not all of them, but especially Cutlass Blue Spice, man. That fragrance was nowhere near close to Imagination. This one literally smells like they put Imagination into this bottle. Even gets down the color to a T. Citrusy, bright, zesty ginger, floral neroli, with of course that herbaceous black tea and Brox in a dry down. Seriously the best Imagination alternative I've tried thus far. Which is so crazy because it's coming from a Dupe scent, which isn't that popular, that nobody really knows about, but man, you guys need to check them out. They even put your name on the bottle, which is a nice attention to detail touch. And I believe you can get 3 full bottles, 3 20 ml bottles for around 70 or 80 bucks, which is what I got with the 6 bottles you see. Next, I got a ton of new fragrances from Nayat, which is the new sub-brand of Orientica. The first one is Kawa, guys. Arabic coffee type of fragrance. Very gourmand, very similar to Mancera's Amore Cafe. Boozy amaretto, very heavy on coffee, and very sweet caramel and vanilla type of base. So if you love coffee, check this out. Nayat Can't Get Enough, which is fruity, citrusy with this kind of gourmand, cakey type of dry down. And this one's so addictive and lives up to that Can't Get Enough name, because every time I smell this, I just want more and more of it, man. Seriously, if you love gourmand fragrances, this one you might want to check out. Nayat's Liquid Desire, which is kind of similar to something like Yves Saint Laurent Mysol, with a heavy floral orange blossom opening, but with orange and a kind of gourmand take on that DNA. And even a little bit tropical. You get like ylang ylang, you even get this agave note with this vanilla dry down. So if you want something similar to Mysol, but you want a more gourmand, sweeter, maybe a tropical take on that, check out Liquid Desire. Nayat's Forbidden Bloom, one of the most beautiful fragrances part of this collection, guys. Sweet, creamy type of marshmallow with raspberry, strawberry, whipped cream even. When I got this in, I made my woman wear this ASAP, man, because it's sexy, it's beautiful, and so elegant. So ladies, if you love whipped cream, marshmallow, fruity fragrances, you have to check out Forbidden Bloom. Next is the 4 masculine fragrances from Nayat. The first is XLNC Titan, which is a spicy, aromatic, kind of classic style of masculine fragrances with Titan. And I love these bottles. I mean, huge 200 ml solid glass bottles with this line. This one also has a ton of this kind of waxy, powdery type of iris thrown into the mix, which just makes it more luxurious smelling and kind of smells like a Titan, guys, no joke. Nayat's XLNC Infinity, which you wouldn't notice by the bottle, but is in the same realm as something like Le Male Elixir, having this aromatic, minty type of vibe to it, with pineapple, benzoin, and vanilla. So if you love something like Le Male Elixir, you're gonna love XLNC Infinity. It still is a little bit different, but very, very much in the same genre. Next is XLNC Grandeur, which might be my least favorite one from the 4 masculine fragrances. It has this bitter grapefruit with a ton of black pepper thrown into the opening as well. It dries down very floral, very metallic from like ambergris, violet, and a ton of clean white musk thrown into this one. Like I said, not my favorite from the line, but still kind of unique and pretty decent when it comes to the scent profile. Nayat's XLNC Imperium, which is my favorite one, I think, from the 4 masculine fragrances. I haven't worn and tested all of them, of course, but this one is very similar to By the Kilian's Angel Share. Boozy cognac, a ton of cinnamon, but adds this kind of dark fruity plum, resinous kind of smoky myrrh, and a burst of this powdery iris. So it's still different than Angel Share, but absolutely in the same realm of things being boozy, cinnamon, and spicy. So if that sounds like something you love, this might be the one you want to check out from this masculine collection, guys, hands down. Nayat's Red Sugar Kiss, part of the Chic collection. Now this is fruity, floral, and sweet, because you get this mandarin orange jasmine opening with a ton of this kind of chocolatey sweet praline with a little bit of spicy saffron and this kind of ambery base. Now this one is in the same realm as Baccarat Rouge 540 that just came to my head smelling this at the time of I'm smelling this right now. It literally reminds me of Baccarat, but maybe a more sweeter kind of gourmand take on Baccarat at the end of the day with Red Sugar Kiss. Naughty Brew, which I love that name, guys, and this one really right now smelling it, it surprised me because it opens up with a ton of this sweet caramel, very gooey type of caramel opening that I believe dries down to this kind of powdery tonka bean and a ton of this sweet creamy vanilla. Yeah, this one smells very good. I haven't worn or tested this one, but yeah, I'm pretty surprised by Naughty Brew, plus the name is sick. Nayat's Sultry Vanilla, which might be my favorite one part of the Chic collection because it opens up with a creamy almond, very spicy as well, that dries down very powdery, vanilla-like, and a ton of amber. With this kind of sawdusty, woody sandalwood thrown into the mix as well, man. Sultry vanilla is a banger from the 4 in the chic line. Nayat Soho Aura, which is a fruity floral as well. You get mandarin and lychee in the opening with a ton of this white floral jasmine. And I believe a little bit of this lily of the valley with this musky ambergris base. And it does definitely lean a little bit feminine. So if you're a lady watching this, you love fruity florals, you might want to check out Soho Aura. And look how beautiful these bottles are. Next, of course, we got some new fragrances from the house of Superz for the month. And this one is Dominance, man. This is one I've been wanting from Superz for such a long time. I do own Dominance Gold, but man, I needed Dominance in my life and I got it now, guys. Kind of in the same realm as Aventus, but still not that similar. Has a burst of this fruity, tropical, natural smelling pineapple in the opening, guys. One of the most natural pineapple openings I smelled in a long time, if ever. That's also very aquatic, and it dries down to this kind of ambery, patchouli type of base. So if you love pineapple fragrances, this one I think is going to be a must, especially if you're a fan of the house of Superz, which of course I am. And you guys already know, code HUNTER10 does save you money on the website. Next up, we got Superz Royal Oud, which is also another one I've wanted for a long time. Being a fan of oud, it's my favorite note in perfumery, guys. This one is in the same realm as something like Initio's Oud for Greatness, being a very earthy, barnyardy type of oud with spices. But I will say, I think this one is maybe a little bit sweeter than Oud for Greatness from what I recall, but still spicy nutmeg, warm resinous amber, barnyardy, earthy oud with a ton of patchouli. Might be one of the best ouds from Superz as well. Superz Budapest Valhalla, which is another one that's been on my radar, guys, because man, is this one amazing, and probably took me the most by surprise because it has this dark vibe to it, very herbal kind of papyrus note, a ton of this powdery iris with amber, leather, patchouli, and even oud in here as well. It is in the same realm as something like Amouage's Interlude, man, or Interlude Black Iris, which if you know me, Interlude is one of my favorite niche fragrances of all time, guys. I consider that to be a masterpiece years and years ago when I got it. And this will absolutely remind you of the Interlude DNA. Still pretty different in and of itself, guys. But if you love Interlude, you love Superz as well, this one you had to check out with Valhalla. Also got Superz Budapest Wild Cherry. I'm a huge fan of cherry, guys, and my girl has been stealing this bottle, wearing it almost every single day because you get this very sexy, syrupy, dark cherry type of vibe in here with fruity plum, a little bit of rose, but it does dry down with this ton of this creamy, sweet, spicy vanilla. And of course, it is going to remind you of pretty much any other cherry fragrance out there, guys. Cherry you really can't do much with, but hands down, one of the best cherries I've ever tried in my life, with Superz take on it. The last Superz we got is of course Toxic, which man, this one is so unique, so different, and does not remind me of any other type of fragrance I've ever tried. You get this sweet tiramisu, honey, caramel that dries down into this earthy oak moss, vanilla, and amber, which those two combinations do not sound like they go together, but man, do they work flawlessly. It's sweet, it's gourmand-like with a ton of earthy vibes. And that combination is toxic, just like that name says, guys. But man, is it toxic in a very sexy, seductive type of way. So if you guys tried Toxic, because this one is a banger from Superz. So the last fragrance we got for the month of November is the brand new Fleurs Afterglow. Literally just got this one in, guys. Haven't even tried it, haven't worn it yet. I did spray it on a test strip just to see how it smelled. Tropical fruity apricot, coconut type of opening, very milky, that dries down to this beautiful vanilla orchid, cashmere, and amber. I will say, of course, this one definitely does lean a little bit more feminine, obviously based on the look of the bottle and of that note breakdown, but man, is it beautiful on a lady. And of course, when it comes to the House of Fleur, man, they have so many bangers. Tangerine Boy, Father Figure, Cherry Stem, barely ever miss. Even though most of them may be a little bit feminine, still bangers. So that's gonna do it for my pickups for the month of November, guys. 45 new pickups, which I know has been a long video. I'm pretty much out of breath, to be honest. But if you stuck around to the end of this video, shout out to you. You're a real one. If you guys haven't already, drop your pickups for the month of November. I want to see what you guys are adding to the collection as well. And I cannot wait for the month of December because you already know it's going to be a great month. Besides that, leave a like on the video, subscribe below if you haven't already, because what are you doing? I got you with daily fragrance content, of course. And I'm going to catch all of you back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody.